In order to accomplish those two networks with the router, we need to add global addressing. Okay, so the way we do our global addressing here is we give IP addresses now to our devices. So if you've ever issued the ipconfig command on your workstation, you'll see these are typically the three fundamental components that make up your IP address. So if you look at the tablet up there in the upper left-hand corner of the screen, I have it set with an IP address of 192.168.104.9. It has a subnet mask 255.255.255.0, and then the default gateway 192.168.104.1. Now the default gateway, we've already kind of introduced that. The default gateway is our router, and the default gateway on our workstation or our tablet here is going to be programmed with the IP address of our router itself. So if we look over at the router on the lower right-hand side of the screen, it has an IP address 192.168.104.1. We're going to take a look at the subnet mask in a second here. But before we get there, let's look at how we separate this out. All right, so we have our inside networks here. And on the outside, remember, we have a unique MAC address on the outside. And anything with a unique MAC address, for all practical purposes, is going to need a unique IP address assigned to it as well. Since this is on the outside of our router versus the inside of our router, the outside of our router is going to have to be on a unique IP network. So if we look there, 203.0.113.8 is the IP address of our outside interface. This is on a unique network from our inside devices. What this allows us to do is it allows us to send a message to Pluralsight.com on the global internet. All right, having these global addresses, these IP addresses, allows us to address packets so that they can be routed over the public internet. However, packets just can't roam free on an Ethernet network in the inside of our house. In order to move that packet around on our inside network, I have to put it in a frame. I don't get to pick this. I must put my packet with my IP addresses in it inside of a frame in order to send it. So I shove the packet inside of the frame. My frame can only communicate locally. So if my packet is destined for Pluralsight.com out there, what I'm going to do is tell my tablet there to create a frame, and the frame is going to be sent to my default gateway or the router. When the router gets it, what it's going to do is it's going to yank the packet out of the frame. It's going to throw the frame away from the inside network. It's going to build a new frame for the outside network. It's going to put our original packet back into it and then send that frame out onto the public internet. Now that packet coming in and out of a frame, that's going to happen every time that packet hits a router. So the frame is only used to pass messages from two devices on the same local network. The packet is the mechanism that allows us to have a message that can be taken out of each individual local frame and put into a new frame as it needs to get routed through a network.